Yeah, we're at the track covering the Sport of Kings. Coming up, make it 8 Triple Crown winners now in Barbados racing history as the Derby field is blown away by the colt Hurricane at Caymanas Park in Jamaica. The favourite right on the money in the Winston Griffiths Classic, plus more added money wins in Canada for Barbadian racing men. The latest making the headlines, the trainer Rodney Barrow and a jockey Christopher Chin's husbands. Let's start at the Garrison Savannah.
A full field of 12 for the 83rd Barbados Derby, including Mrs. Gay Smith's fabulous Triple Crown seeking colt Hurricane coming off wins in the Guineas and the Midsummer Classic. Antonio Bishop aboard for trainer Eddie Walcott Jr. The field also includes a couple of Hurricane stablemates, the 2-horse, the filly Pussycat, who was 3rd in the Guineas, and number 3, the Chestnut Colt Jaguar, 2nd in the Guineas 4 months ago. Check out the 5-horse Mikal, 2nd in last month's Midsummer Classic, one of 7 fillies in the field. Gerald Beckles aboard here for the 10 Furlong Classic. The main contenders, number 2 Pussycat at 14-1, 5 Mikal is at 12-1, 3-1 on the Speed of 10 horse Afternoon Delight. She's the second favourite. 12-1 on the 9 horse Aries. It's 3-5 odds on for the big favourite, number 11 Hurricane, and the 12 horse Rite of Passage backed as the third favourite at 9-1. So only 7 previous Triple Crown winners in Barbados. After Are You Talking to Me in 2009, none until People's Champ last year. So would Hurricane record the Garrison Savannah's first ever back-to-back Triple Crown? He is close to the lead here early on the outside under Bishop in the pink cap as top jockey Ricky Walcott sets the early fractions with a filly Afternoon Delight, watched in the combox by Dean Springer.
As the Thunder passes stands the first time after opening quarter of 26-2. The circuit to go, and it's Afternoon Delight, walking it in front. Just about a half, 3/4 of a length up now from on the outside. Virginia Park and Get Cracking. Hurricane stalking these in 4th. Princess Julia is next in 5th. Rite of Passage along the inside 6th. Then on the outside is Aries. Behind these is Pussycat and Mikal racing together. Divination, that's the grey. The coat is at marker along with Jaguar. The opening half was 53-4. They're around the far turn and head up the hill. They've got just over 3 furlongs to go. And Afternoon Delight continues to lead, but there's a Hurricane coming on the outside into second. The Virginia Park has had enough. Princess Julia runs a big race. They've got just about a 1/4 mile to go, and it's Afternoon Delight. And on the outside, the barometric pressure starts to drop as Hurricane comes sweeping by, and then the flash opens up by 4. It's Hurricane by 4. Aries running into second. Afternoon Delight has had enough, and there are no more turns in the Derby, and Hurricane is storming clear. He's under right-hand encouragement, but he's dashing away. Aries trying desperately to close, but Hurricane is too good, too great. He's going to storm them home today. Hurricane in a rope.
Just a couple of right-hand cracks of the whip to keep Hurricane on the job. Pretty easy in the end by 2 1/4 lengths for the Bay Colt. The Triple Crown accomplished. The winning connections, understandably, even more ecstatic than they were for the Guineas in the Midsummer. 4 Derby wins now for jockey Antonio Bishop after victories with Knight Rider in 2013, Northern Star in 2016, and Butterfly a year later. And post-race, he told Barry Wilkinson Hurricane dragged him toward the lead from early, and things were pretty easy after that.
When we passed the 5.5 marker, he actually relaxed onto me, and then they got a slight, I get a little bit closer on the rail. And then they realized the horse on the front was not really going anywhere, so it wasn't a need to move just as yet. And then when they get coming to the bottom of the turn, I asked him a question, it was all over.
And finally, how does it feel, Triple Crown? How does it feel?
It feels amazing for me, but per se more happy for the whole team, because it was not only me on the horse, but it's a whole team effort.
Mrs. Gay Smith's Hurricane clocks 2 minutes 11.20 seconds for the 10 furlong Derby trip, chased by the 12-1 bet Aries, who runs a cracker for second at 14-1. Pussycat third, like she was in the Guineas. The winning groom Arnold Morris, and trainer Eddie Walcott Jr. believes Hurricane is one of the best he has conditioned.
I've worked with a lot of horses, but this guy, he's one of those horses that just is genuine about himself, and every day is a get-go. It's never a hold back. And I have to give Antoine, my whole team of guys, they've done a great job. We had some setbacks, but we kept it going, and we really got it pulled off.
Great going trainer Eddie Walcott Jr. with 3 Derby wins now, adding here to scores he had in 2013 with Knight Rider and Butterfly in 2017. To Jamaica now, where Saturday's main event was the Winston Griffiths Classic, run in honour of Carricom's all-time leading rider in wins.
8 runners face the starter in the 9.5 furlong Winston Griffiths Classic. The 4-year-old gelding Brinks, a heavy 1-5 favourite after top 3 finishes in all of his Triple Crown engagements over the summer. Second in the Guinness, third in the St. Leger, and second in the Derby. This job times easier based on quality of opposition. No blue vinyl, no Atomica, no horse to stop him.
Brinks now assumes authority. Brinks goes on by 2 lengths, and the writing may be on the wall. Brinks in front, rushing down on the outside. That's Perfect Brew. Does Perfect Brew has anything to offer Brinks? They're at the top of the lane. Brinks trying to take home the money in the Winston Griffiths Classic. It's Brinks in front, kicking away from Perfect Brew. Out wide, Morimoto looks to be coming forward. Brinks paced against the rail in front, about 4 lengths inside the final furlong. Morimoto running a big one. Brinks though denying Morimoto. Morimoto driven for all his worth. Brinks is still in front, and Brinks will bring home the money in the second running of the Winston Griffiths Classic. Brinks beats Morimoto.
Kevin Burnside on commentary. Brinks by 3.5 lengths as a 1-5 favourite, with Ryan Lewis aboard for trainer Ian Prasad and owners Karen Prasad and Everton Campbell, chased by 13-1 bet Morimoto, who puts in a good shift for second. First win for Brinks this year from 8 starts, 2 minutes and 3/5 of a second for the 9.5 furlongs. The winner's enclosure presentation, Hall of Famer Winston Griffiths OD, 5-time champion jockey, 1,664 career wins, including a world record 44 classics, making presentations to the winning entourage.
A Barbadian Stakes winner on Saturday at Canada's Woodbine, but not one of the regular names. Rodney Barrow, only with a trainer's license since 2020, in the Vice Regent Stakes here with the 8-1 shot, Forester's Fortune.
The 5 furlong sprint on turf with a 7-horse field for a $150,000 purse. Barrow's 5-year-old gelding winless from 4 starts so far this season. Some traffic trouble earlier in the race and a bit behind here in 4th, but gaining on the Japanese rider Daisuke Fukumoto.
Rock Chris turns 2 in front of Warp Ride. On the inside, Mason's Gamble and Silent Poet's Last. Wedgwood's coming home right down the outside. Forester's Fortune the centre. Rock Crest only a length and a half. Forester's Fortune and Wedgwood are closing. Forester's Fortune and Wedgwood together. Forester's Fortune bursting to the front, and Forester's Fortune narrowly. Forester's Fortune has won the Vice Regent.
Forester's Fortune at 8-1 in the Vice Regent Stakes under Fukumoto's skillful ride, scoring by a head over Barbadian Jason Hoyt's mount Wedgwood, clocking 56.90 for the 5 furlong sprint. No one happier at the end than Barrow, who knew his charge had what it took to get the job done.
He always could finish fast, right? So he got a bad trips too. He gets stopped, everything, but he got so much heart. He just keep trying. And I want to thank Miss Severe, Archie Lee, and Melissa Williams, Kieran Palmer. They're all there for me from the beginning. So I can't ask for nothing better.
From Woodbine to another Barbadian making headlines in Ontario at the nearby Fort Erie racetrack. Christopher Chin's husband's reigning champion at Fort Erie and twice champion at Assiniboia Downs.
Aboard the 3-1 bet Hold the Applause on a wet track in the Horse People's Luminary Cup Stakes. Husbands in the pink silks and white cap second here as he chases the jockey's lead, taking aim at the front-running 6-1 bet Jara into the home stretch.
It's Jara. She still leads, but here comes Hold the Applause and Dreamin' of Passion. They're 3 across the track at the 8th pole. Hold the Applause has the lead. Dreamin' of Passion coming down the outside. Jara needs to come back on again. It's Hold the Applause and Chris Husbands to win the Horse People's Luminary Cup.
She broke really sharp. She was there. Peppy came up. I figured he wanted it more, and so I let him go. It didn't make any sense to use her early in the race, so I let him run, still off of him a bit, and then but when I pressed the button, she gave me what she had.
21 wins now on the Fort Erie season for Chris Husbands, 4 of jockey's leader Melanie Pinto, with just under 6 weeks left in the season. His smooth handling takes Hold the Applause to a 2 1/4 length win, stopping the clock at 1:18:37 for the 6.5 furlong trip. Another Barbadian jock, Juan Crawford, second aboard Dreamin' of Passion at 3-1 odds.
The Caribbean numbers now before we go. Since our last show, 80 wins have counted for Caribbean racing men in the USA and Canada. Obviously too many to list at the moment, but there was the red-hot Barbadian 16-year-old jockey Slade Jones with 6 wins at Woodbine. Devon Gittings, the Barbadian trainer, with 4 wins at Assiniboia Downs, where Ronaldo Cumberbatch also had 4 wins, including a Tuesday stakes win. Trevor Simpson, the Jamaican jockey, had 4 stakes wins, $10,000 races at Lethbridge in Canada. And there was also a triple on Friday night for the Barbadian Rika Walcott and the Jamaican jockey Robert Halladine with a win at Thistledown for Jason DaCosta this week. Halladine also won at West Virginia's Mountaineer Park. We've been at the track, covering top stories and exciting races in the sport of kings. Check us out again next week.